Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Eric with SweetSpotDFS, and welcome to my DFS preview of the 2022 Bermuda Championship. Now, it's my goal in these videos, in these preview videos, to lay foundational pieces for you guys, as well as myself, to build the optimal lineup. And I do that by looking at the bucket system, which, if you don't already know, is my way of analyzing the top 10 of a specific tournament for all the years of data that I've collected on it. And it really helps us identify which stats matter and which stats don't. I mean, not every week does good recent form matter. Sometimes bad recent form matters, or bad recent form with good course history, or a good finish in last week's tournament, or having a good finish at this tournament the year before. So all of those pieces of data, as well as strokes gained stats, all go through the bucket system. It's a great way, like I said, to analyze the top 10. To really figure out how to build our optimal lineups. So if you want to see everything that I'll be covering in this video, I have timestamps in the description below. You can also find those timestamps on YouTube's progress bar. All you got to do is hover over it. You'll see everything that I'll be covering, and you can skip to whatever part that you want at a click of the mouse button. Let's go ahead. Let's get into this thing. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start out with my giveaways that I do. This is kind of a new thing for the 2022 season. And really, we finally reached our goal of 250 subscribers. So I'm giving $20 away at the end of this week. But there is a chance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double that. You can see the next week's goal is on the screen right now, 275 subscribers. If we reach that before Sunday night, I will double this and give away $40 to a lucky entrant, one of you guys. And in order to get an entry into this giveaway, all you need to do is be subscribed to the channel, comment down below in any of my videos. You get a free entry per video if you comment on each of them, I should say. So if you do it in this video, you get one entry. I do a strategy video tomorrow. If you do it there, you get another free entry. And then on Wednesdays, I do prize picks videos. If you comment there, you get another one. That's 3 free entries to win maybe up to $40. But again, I'm doing a giveaway this week for you guys to have to, or in order to enter, you got to comment on 1, 2, 3 of my videos for this week. And then if you want a 4th free entry, share it on Twitter. I always post all my videos on Twitter. Go into one of those, share it. You get a free entry. Again, giving up to $40 if we reach 275 subscribers. We're already at $20 for this week, so if we don't get there, one of you lucky guys will get 20, but then the giveaways will go back to $10. So really, it's your chance. It's your one chance to try to help me grow this channel and win, a decent amount of money. I'm gonna one up this one, so keep that in mind. Prize picks giveaway is another way for you guys to win money. All you gotta do is sign up using the code, sign up with prize picks. There's a link in the description. Use the code SweetSpot. That link will automatically populate it, and put a minimum deposit of $20 in. If I get 2 new entries for prize picks using the promo code SweetSpot, and we reach 255 or 275 subscribers, I will add $20 to the giveaway contest for the subscriber contest. This one is just gonna remain $20. But that other one will be worth $60. So there's up to $80 that can be won just by doing those few things. So yeah, help me grow the channel. I want to, it's my way of rewarding you guys. It's an easy way to do it. It's not difficult. In this video, the comment, in order for this to get a free entry, how about this? Give me your favorite, just give me your favorite play. It's a weak field. We'll go through the bucket system. You'll get a better idea of which one you want to anchor your lineups around. Yeah, give me your favorite golf, just your favorite golfer. How about this? Your favorite 2 golfers you're building your lineups around. That's it. So that'll be the comment topic for this video. Again, you guys could win up to $80. No, $60. $80, $80. That's right. $20 for this giveaway, $60 for the subscriber if we reach 275 subscribers. There we go. Yes. All right. let's get into this video. First up, tournament information. This is a work in progress. I'm just going to keep it like this for now because it was simple. It was easy. I still have to figure out how I want to present this, but this is what we got right now. It's a Bermuda Championship. This was established in 2019, so we only have 2 years of data prior to this year that we get to work with. It was a fill-in, I believe, for another tournament. Can't remember. I should have done my homework. I'm sorry. But either way, established in 2019. It is in Bermuda, Southampton Parish, Bermuda. Field size 132 players. It was 132 last year, 120 the year before that, though. The cut is top 65 in ties. Average winning score is minus 19.5. I'm going to pull up the spreadsheet after this. You're going to see there's a bit of a disparity. One winner won it at 15 under, one won it at 24 under. So there's, you know, a pretty wide gap between those. So the average winning score, 19.5 under, not a huge deal. It really is going to depend on wind. Average cut score is even. 1 year, I think it was 2 under. And then another year, no, 1 year it was 1 under, and another year it was, sorry, back up. 1 year it was 2 under, another year it was 1 over. So it's around even and a half, but I wasn't going to put that on there. The weather for Thursday, Friday is on the screen. That's 79 degrees on Thursday, 78 on Friday. One thing for you guys to know, it's been raining, or the forecast has nothing but rain. Even leading into Thursday, there should be a little bit of rain Thursday. But the winds are really what you need to keep an eye out for. So if you're doing prize picks like I do, or showdown entries, anything like that, be cognizant of the wind. This golf course is built on the coast, so there really isn't any protection from any winds coming off the ocean. There's very few trees on this golf course, and really no trees that shape, you know, any of the holes. So it's pretty unprotected. And the wind is really the golf course's defense. Like I said, 24 under won it. I think it was last year with Brian Gay. But the year before that was 15 under. So if the wind picks up, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. And you can see Thursday's forecast is 25 to 35 miles an hour. Friday's is 10 to 20. Always take a look the day before doing like showdowns or prize picks. Windfinder.com is a website I like to use. But I have found that can be off at times, where I'm not sure if it really gauges what we really need, or what we really need to the most accurate point. I'm recalling the CJ Cup in Vegas as one of those moments where the wind on Windfinder.com didn't really add up, or maybe it was Shriners. I think it was Shriners. Yeah, so just be careful, use your best guess, your best judgment. But yeah, wind is something you want to take a look at for showdown, as well as any prize pick stuff. But also trying to find the good stack, like the PM AM wave or the AM PM wave. Try to determine which one's the best for you. Don't make it a end all be all. Just use it as a tiebreaker. That's all you need to do. The golf course, Port Royal Golf Course. Again, we've seen this. It was established in 2019, so we have 2 years already on it. Par 71, 6,800 yards. Architect is Robert Trent Jones. He's a pretty famous architect in the golf world, and he has done a few PGA golf courses, so you can use that data. You know, if you have any of those research sites that you use, go ahead, take a look at any, you know, Robert Trent Jones. Even Robert Trent Jones Sr., I believe, did this one, but he has a son that also does them. I'm pretty sure they're very similar in the way that they create their golf courses, so it doesn't matter. Any Robert Trent Jones will do just fine. You have greens, fairways, and rough. They're all Bermuda. You have Tiff Eagle greens, and then like 419 Bermuda on fairway and rough. It doesn't really matter. Use all of your Bermuda stats that you possibly can. Putting, around the green, approach, all that good stuff. You should find some decent golfers doing that. And then you can see that little box is just the shot shape matrix that I like to create. You can see off the tee draws, approach draws, fades, it looks like draws matter more on approach than really any of the other shot shapes. Like any shot shape means you can hit a fade or a draw. It doesn't matter. So you can literally look at this and say draws matter more than fades, because of the 7 holes where a draw into the green is probably more beneficial. Plus, if we're playing wind, an easier shot to hit through the wind is a draw as opposed to a fade. So keep that in mind. But I guess that's really all I have for your general information. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at past results. That way we can you guys can get a little bit of a better idea what to look. As you can see, 15 under won it last year. Okay, so Brian Gay won it at 15 under last year. Looks like in a playoff against Wyndham Clark. And then in 2020, Brennan Todd won at 24 under. Second place was 20. And that I usually like to look at the top 5, what that score is, 18 under and 12 under. So, you know, you could probably find better averages of what you're trying to achieve when creating your lineups. This looks like it could be a birdie fest, but more often than not, or not, I should say more often than not, because of the wind in 2021, I'm guessing because of the wind, scores were a little higher than they usually are. But still, like your 10th place, there isn't much variance there. We want somewhere around over 14 under. Over 14 under will be our winning score. And that lends itself to everybody. It's not, you know, it's going to be open to birdie makers. It's going to be open to grinded out par golfers. Everyone is fair game to play. So unfortunately, when we look at past results, can't really determine any kind of edges or advantages we can get from this. We can take a look at past optimal lineups, though. We only have 1 year of salary data in 2020. I either didn't record it or DraftKings didn't have a contest for it. So really, I just have 2021. And if you take a look, the optimal lineup left 5,000 on the table. So let me go into the 2020 DK sheet really quick, or the dream sheet as I like to call it. I'll hide this because this doesn't really matter. It's just for lineup building purposes. This field, the first thing I forgot to mention what the strength of field was. Let me pull that back up. Strength of field is 68. 68. That is like the lowest strength of field ever. I mean, it's super low. I think like Corrales Punta Cana might have had a lower one, but I don't know if it was last year's Corrales Punta Cana, because I feel like that was not terrible for strength of field. But yeah, 68 is the strength of field. I have that right up here. You can see if you aren't aware, how strength of field works, it takes a look at official World Golf Ranking and then FedEx Cup. Now, this is my calculation of strength of field. There is like I wouldn't say a hidden value that comes with it, but there's definitely, like, you know, since this is a PGA Tour golf course, your FedEx Cup will get like a little bit of a boost to the points. I'm just using the base points, the baseline points for official World Golf Ranking and FedEx. I'm not including the boost to like FedEx or from the FedEx Cup or from the European Tour. Basically, what that entails is I'm going to be off somewhere between 5 to 10 points when it comes to strength of field. So when I say 68, the worst, you know, I would be off would be either 78 or 58. So it's pretty darn close. Let's put it that way. I have full confidence in it. It does represent fields pretty easily, and I've compared it against like the PGA Championship last year that had an insane strength of field, and I was off by 7 points there. So I'm pretty sure around 68 to 70 is going to be your strength of field, like the exact one from the official World Golf Ranking site. But again, I do my own calculations. It's just faster for me to get that data. Anyways, you look at official World Golf Ranking, you look at FedEx. There are 3 golfers in this field that, I guess we could probably go 4. 4 golfers in this field that add to there was another one. Never mind. I guess it's just these 3. I thought there was one other guy that had 10 points. Not going to be down here. Guess not. 68. Okay. So, I mean, we have, let's just say the 4 that are over 5 points. Matt Fitzpatrick, Christian Bezuidenhout, Patrick Reed, and Garrick Higgo. Maybe we can put in Lucas Herbert as well. That's 42 of your points that go towards the 68 strength of field. I've only highlighted 5 golfers. So this field is incredibly weak. What this helps to do is open the field up to everybody. The bottom guy is so much closer to the top guy. And what I mean by that is if we go down to the salary, we can do a past PGA Tour winner, the Puerto Rico Open, Martin Trainer, although he's god-awful, terrible. Do not play Martin Trainer. But with that being said, he is so much closer to a Matthias Schwab or a Chad Ramey than we had like last week where we had Colin Morikawa, Hideki Matsuyama, Xander Schauffele, and some of the Japanese guys. You know, there is a huge gap between those guys. Here, anything. You could play anybody. Martin Trainer, Ted Potter Jr. He's also a past PGA Tour winner. Even Robert Garrigus, if you wanted to. You could play any of these guys because that's how, like, this field, it's really anyone's game. Anyone can win this tournament. And you could say that every week, but really, realistically, here is the best opportunity for any of these guys to win. And oh, by the way, one thing I forgot to mention, they're dropping like flies at the Bermuda Championship. What I mean by that, they've exhausted all alternates. Yeah, alternates. I was going to say alternatives. No. They've exhausted all alternates for this tournament, which means usually they have like 12 to 16 golfers in reserve. So if someone withdraws from the tournament, they can just fill that spot in with one of those guys. There's been so many withdrawals at this tournament that everybody that was on that list of alternates have already been slotted in, and we're still seeing more withdrawals, which means that brings this field down more and more every single withdrawal. So keep that in mind. This could be a 120-man field. It could be a 110-man field. Who knows? Maybe it becomes a no-cut event. I made a joke about that on Twitter. I don't think it's a possibility, but something is happening at the Bermuda Championship where no one wants to travel there and play. I don't think it's something super serious, but the quarantining issues and stuff like that might be playing an effect in here. I don't know. Something's going on and people are withdrawing all over the place. So keep that in mind. Back to past optimal lineups, 44,700. That's leaving $5,300 on the table. Now the GPP winning lineup scored 50,000. Used 50,000 points. They scored 596. The optimal scored 637. So it was only 40 points difference. $5,000 difference between them, but only 40 points. And you can see those guys. I mean, a $6,300 golfer won last year. Like I told you, a Robert Garrigus, who's $6,200, could win this tournament. Brian Gay, he'd won on the PGA Tour in the past. Kind of, nothing would tell you he was going to come into this tournament and win it. Bad recent form, like I told you in the intro of this video. Bucket System does a good job of highlighting this. I'm showing it to you in the raw stats here, but we'll get into it with the Bucket System later. But $6,300. You had a $6,300 guy, a $6,200 guy, all in the top 3, but you also had a $7,000 guy. As you can see, there is a 10K guy up here, but you didn't need to play a 10K golfer at all. You could have just played those guys right there. So like I said, the field is wide open. The bottom is so much closer to the top in this type of field than in any other tournaments we have on tour. And really, like I was saying, when I first looked into this, we have no salary data in 2020. Can't do optimal lineups. There's only 1 year of doing optimal lineups, which kind of leads me into the bucket system. But I think first, it's not really a good transition. I want to look at grass stats. We'll do that at the end. We'll go into the bucket system now. So the bucket system, really, I'm looking at, there are 6 stat categories. I think you guys can see them on the screen. Let me just open up to everything and just use this as my easy way to do. So I'm looking at last year's stats, last week's stats, course history, recent form, salary, and strokes gained stats. Those are my stat categories. And within each of those stats, we have 6 buckets. And it all goes by different parameters. So my range is like top 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80. These are 4 buckets, and then I have missed cuts as another bucket and did not plays as my final bucket. So those are my 6 buckets. So if a golfer falls inside that range, they're a part of that bucket. When we look at last year's stats, again, we only have 1 year of data. That's all. In 2019 was when it was established, but that went towards the 2020 season. In that 2020 season, obviously there was no tournament to look at the year before. It was fresh. It started that year. So there's no last year's data. So then 2021, we had our 1 year of data. And that's all we can do. Again, our bucket system is lead-in stats. So if I go to 2020, as you can see, there was no Bermuda Championship prior to this. If we go to 2021, now we start recording last year data. That last year data gets recorded into the buckets. It gets reflected on the bucket system. So really, I just have the 1 year of data. That's it. So it's really hard to determine, of these buckets, does it really matter? Now, I can use like past bucket systems for other tournaments, but just like any other stat, it all depends on the field. It all depends at the type of golf course, on whether those stats, stick or they don't. What I can tell you is every single year or every single week that I do these previews and I look at the bucket system, I can tell you already you want somewhere between 1 to 2 golfers who top 20 this last year. Obviously, we have 5 that show up in 2021. So if I go to 2021, you can see all their last year finishing positions. So that gives you a pretty good idea that having, some course history here matters. And having a decent finishing position the year before matters. But I still would stick by 1 to 2 last year 1s, probably somewhere between 2 to 4 last year 2s, which are golfers who did not play. And then you can add 1 of any of the other buckets. So that's basically how I would build lineups, because that's usually what we see. Now you can use this data however you want. This is the top 10 from basically 2021 and what their lead-in stats were. So we're looking at last year buckets. This is what we see inside the top 10. Again, if you wanted to validate it yourself, all you got to do is take a screenshot of this, compare it to this, or screenshot this and compare it to that one. You can see we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top 20s, 1 20 to 40, and 1 missed cut. So if we go back to the summary, you can see that, I suppose we did have some guys who did not play. I forgot to even incorporate that. But yeah, you got these golfers here that did not play. So you have 3 of them. Anyways, that's how I do last year. Now, last week buckets, we actually had 2 years of data for this. Unfortunately, usually we don't see anybody from the week before play in this tournament. So if we go to 2020 and we look at the Zozo Championship that was played the week before the Bermuda, we had 0 golfers that played in the Zozo. So this bucket is just always going to be, looking at last week's stats would have been pointless. In 2021, if we also look at last week's bucket, when we scroll down here, we're going to see there's one guy, Brennan Todd. He's the only guy that has played the week before heading into this tournament. So that's the only person we have data on when it comes to looking at last week buckets. So in my opinion, this doesn't matter. What I will say is we do have, so like I told you, we just had that one that had, a finish from the week before. That was Brennan Todd. You can see average per year, we mostly see 0. We actually have 6 golfers coming from the Zozo Championship playing in this field. So it'll be kind of interesting to see if this will translate to any kind of success. My opinion, it probably won't. You probably still want to target golfers who did not play. And here, I'll put a filter on 2020 and just show you the golfers who have played. Select all, sorry. Select all, and then get rid of links. Here are your 6 golfers in salary order, starting with Garrett Kigo. They all had really bad finishes at the Zozo Championship. There's nothing you're going to get from this data. They're really just 2 buckets worth of data. You have the 40 to 60 range, and then you got the 60 to 80 range. So obviously that is reflected in the buckets. You can see them right here. Personally, I'm not looking at last week buckets. I mean, there's just not enough. 126 golfers are in this last week bucket 1. That's just way too many. Like I can't tell you want to pick one from these 2 buckets because most of the guys are in this one. And you could probably if you are to build any lineups of golfers who played last week, be careful, be mindful. Like they're traveling from Japan, going all the way to the Bermuda Triangle, basically. That's a long way to travel. And I know some of these guys are good enough, they can shake it off and it's not that big of a deal, but honestly, don't. Just last week buckets, I'm not paying any attention to. There's 3 buckets to talk about, and the 2 that have, 3 golfers in are kind of pointless. We don't even need to bring that up. There also is no course history recorded because I require 2 years of data in order to start building course history. So this will be the first year we have a lead-in course history heading into this contest. So next year when we do this, we will have 1 year of course history to look at. I don't consider I do consider 1 year of data as course history, but as the tournament goes, I want to determine if having good course history matters. So if there was a guy who played 3 years in a row and he's playing that 4th year, if he'd finished really good each of those years, I kind of can tell you that course history matters. Just one guy, I understand, but I mean, if you feel this course out and you know it and you play well, course history will matter. This week it does not. I have no course history stats because again, there's no lead-in stats. That's the big one. I have no lead-in course history. Trying to find my one with the filter. Okay. So no course history, no last week, 1 year of last year. Recent form, we actually have 2 years of data for, because this is really just recording the last 7 weeks prior to this tournament. So it includes the past 8 weeks, and looking at their recent form average. And if you look at 2020, you can see golfers coming in with some really bad recent form. Brendan Todd won this, missing 4 cuts and then having a 28th place finish at the Houston Open. And then Harry Higgs had a top 20, a missed cut, somewhere in the 20 to 40, and then 2 missed cuts. Like it doesn't really tell you other than, hey, if they're good enough to get a top 20, they have some, or just say top 30, I guess. No, that doesn't work either. I'm trying to incorporate everybody. Put it this way. Having bad course history, not terrible. And this is actually filtered on good course history. So the 2 guys with good course history actually top 20 this tournament. So, or not course history, I'm sorry, recent form. Wow. I'm sure most of you guys were like, what the hell is he talking about? Recent form, good recent form had top 20 finishes. And the guys with the 20 to 40, we actually see 2 third place finishes. So hey, recent form, when you look at it this way, that can matter. But again, I mean, you need, first place, you need second place. Neither of those guys really had good recent form. The rest of the guys here too, not so good recent form. But yeah, sure, Scheffler and Gay, that works. In 2021, we kind of see more of the same. Not super good recent form, but I think we have a couple guys up there. Yeah, so we have one optimal lineup golfer who was 3rd in recent form. And we come down, you don't see any other optimal lineups, but we do have Doc Redman, who had decent recent form. But yeah, this is also another thing, like recent form. Actually, I'm not going to say it that way. It's good to have that data, to have this data, because again, letting you guys know you don't need to build a lineup with 6 golfers with the best recent form heading into this tournament. In fact, your best bucket is that 40 to 60 range of recent form finishes. Again, looking back at the last 8 weeks, their average finishing position somewhere between 40 and 60. Your second bucket would be averaging 60 to 80. Your third best bucket, 20 to 40. Those are your top 3 buckets when it comes to recent form. Again, we only have 2 years of data. Still works out though, in my opinion. Still works out. And as we look at this is really kind of the first time we can do projections with any of our buckets. I'm looking somewhere between 0 to 1 golfers that have that 20 to 40 recent form range or average. Looking 1 to 3 recent form ones, so that 40 to 60 range, and 1 to 4 of that 60 to 80 range. So keep that in mind. You really want to hit these bottom buckets here with bad recent form. And you can kind of see like average per year, how many are in these buckets this year. So we do see more with good recent form than we have in the past. And we actually see less in these 2 buckets, quite a bit less. We have way more golfers who did not play last year in this field. So keep all of that in mind as well. And my projections also go off of this data too. We're looking at how many are in this year, what the success rate has been over the last 2 years, and also looking at strength of field in those buckets to create these projections. So keep all of that in mind. I'm really curious to see who these guys are with good recent form, because 0 points are going towards strength of field. Harry Hall, $7,200, very talented golfer. Jim Knaus and Bo Hosler. Very interesting. Okay. Good to know. I don't mind playing any of these guys, honestly. So maybe that's a little bit of an advantage there. So those are really the 4 major buckets. Last year, last week, course history, recent form. I'm not going to get into salary data because, again, we only have 1 year of data, but we did see a 10K inside the top 10. We did see a 9K, and then it was nothing but 7 and 6s. When we look at the optimal lineups, you needed a 9K golfer, 2 6, like low 6K golfers, and 3 7Ks. But that's not that important. I don't care to go over salaries. Looking at strokes gain stats, here's your top 10 frequencies right here. We saw 1 with all stats positive last year. Then we saw 1 with positive off the tee, positive putting, and either a negative stat in between approach or around the green. Then we had a positive off the tee, negative putting. 4 golfers in the negative off the tee, positive putting. So these are kind of your short hitters, probably good with their approach shots, obviously really good with their putting. So we actually had 4 inside the top 10. So for everyone touting and kind of saying, hey, this is a short ball hitter course, you want to find golfers who are precise off the tee, into the greens, that kind of stuff. I'm all about it. It's fine. It's not going to build you your optimal lineup, but it's going to help. If we look at last year's optimal, we only had 2 golfers of that ilk. We had 1 golfer with positive off the tee. So that means usually your long ball hitters are just really accurate golfers off the tee. And then we also had 1 with all positive stats. And actually, why don't we just take a look? That way you guys can have a better idea of who I'm talking about. So if we scroll over, here are the stats we're looking at. So obviously Brian Gay won this with negative off the tee and negative putting. So he's a strokes gained 5. God, he had negative all the way across. These are lead-in stats again. Just remember, lead-in stats, not during the tournament. Wyndham Clark, long ball hitter, very long. If we went, I think maybe I have driving distance. Yeah, 324.5 was his average driving distance heading into this tournament. You also had Stuart Sink, 313, Matt Jones, 311. So it's not just stuck to golfers who are short off the tee. And if I look, I guess Matt Jones had negative off the tee, meaning he's inaccurate with his distance. But you had a positive Stuart Sink, and then Doc Redman was positive. That's probably because he's not even accurate off the tee. Interesting. It's weird how those stats correlated like that. But either way, kind of gives you an idea. It's going to be a mixed bag. I would say this. Do not get caught up with just short ball hitters. We had 3 instances in the optimal lineup where short ball hitters prevailed. But I guess if we, to kind of argue against my point, we actually had 6. 6 out of a total of 10 golfers who were short ball hitters or just negative off the tee, which can be short ball hitters that have some accuracy or long ball hitters that have very wild, like really bad accuracy. And then 1 golfer who did not have any strokes gained stats. We have way more of those golfers in the field than we did last year. Remember last year, there was no Korn Ferry graduation that led into the PGA Tour. We didn't let anybody go or demote anybody in the PGA Tour last year. So we didn't have that influx of golfers, like brand new golfers. I anticipate this bucket, it's going to be higher with top 10 finishes. I mean, you can kind of see again this year compared to average per year. 2 strokes gained 1 golfers in this field. On average, there's 7. 7 strokes gained 2 golfers. On average, there's 22. Then we have 13 strokes gained 3 golfers, average of 23. And you can see so on and so forth. But 86 with no strokes gained stats. So these are your Korn Ferry graduates, and these are your European Tour golfers who haven't played enough PGA Tour events in the 2021 year to get any PGA Tour stats. So keep all of that in mind. I think it's going to be wide open. Again, I think you're going to probably find more golfers in this bucket than we will in any of the other ones. And although we do see the frequency at 100% for all of these buckets, just be cognizant that there are lower numbers in those buckets than we saw last year. So that's really all that I have with the buckets. I'm going to finish this out by looking at the best Bermuda golfers in the field. We'll go through this really quick. I recommend pausing the video, taking a screenshot. I don't have to talk about all of these guys. Thumbnail had Christian Bezuidenhout. He's my 3rd ranked golfer in the field. He has the best overall Bermuda stats, 14.29%, finishing inside the top 10. You can see the total amount of Bermuda events right here for all of the golfers that you see. So, like I said, take a screenshot. What I'm going to do is actually get rid of 1s and 2s. We'll go 3 and greater. So now you see this. Still Christian, and then it goes Patrick Reed, Denny McCarthy. Those 3 guys in my dummy lineup. Not Patrick Reed, I'm sorry. But if I was to switch out Bezuidenhout with anybody, it'd probably be Patrick Reed. He's my number 1 ranked golfer in this field. Kind of a no-brainer. He's really the cream of the crop in this field. And then you can see the rest of the guys here. I'm not going to talk about any of the other ones. Yeah, that's fine. When it comes to top 10 success rates, David Lipsky, 3 events under his belt. He finished top 10 in 1 of them. So that's your 33%. But then it's Patrick Reed, of course. Matt Fitzpatrick, Denny McCarthy, Seth Reeves, very interesting to see his name up there. A legacy golfer in Luke Donald. I think that's funny to say that. Some of these, Kiradech Barnrat, this might be a good place for him. Yeah, I understand you want a short ball hitter, or at least that's what some of the stats say, but not every position for your lineup needs to be a short ball hitter. Kiradech might be able to fill that for your long ball. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. And then lastly, 2021 Bermuda. This also includes the Safeway Championship. So of this year, of the 2022 season, but this is all 2021 season stats. I really have nothing to say with any of these guys. I mean, not super great, Bermuda stats over this last year. Matt Fitzpatrick is up there. That's great. Christian Bezuidenhout's up there. Awesome. Reed, Villegas, I've seen him a few times filtering and sorting through this data. Hank Libiota, I like that name. Russell Knox might not be terrible. It's a crapshoot. Like this is kind of just an event. Play whoever you like. I like Nick Hardy. He has 1 finish on Bermuda. This has to be wrong. Oh. I think I need to update this because this is obviously including 2021, and then he has 1 other Bermuda stat that probably comes from this year. So I did the averages for this year, but I don't think it got added to the overall. Okay, I'll have to look at that, but either way, doesn't matter. It's not changing this number much. And we went through everything we needed to. Darn. I was going to try to get this video done under 40 minutes, but we are at 40, which is fine. A little bit more in depth than I planned to go. As I was going through these spreadsheets and kind of explaining, I just felt the need to explain, you know, maybe a little bit more, just to be more precise and specific. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Really quickly, again, $80 are on the line this week. If we can get to 275 subscribers, you see it on the screen right there. 275 subscribers and 2 new free entries, or new, what would you call those? New signups. 2 new signups on Prize Picks. Link is in the description for Prize Picks. If we can get 2 of those, we can gain 25 subscribers out of the blue. That'd be awesome. $80. 60 for the subscriber giveaway, and then 20 for Prize Picks. And if you're going to be in Prize Picks forever. And you're going to be in that giveaway until your name is called. So your entrance or your entry into that giveaway this week won't go away if your name isn't called Sunday night. So again, hey, lots of free money. Lots of free money. I think that's all I have for you guys. So I'll see you in the strategy video tomorrow, and then Prize Picks Wednesday. Again, you get free entries to that giveaway, the subscriber giveaway, if you comment on any of those videos. In this one, all you had to do is give me your 2 top golfers you're building your lineups around. That's it. You get a free entry. You got to be subscribed to that guy. That goes without saying. But that's all I have for you guys. So thank you for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and good luck this week. All right, bye.